Welcome to the Cosmic Folds Paranormal Highway. Tonight's ride takes us deep into Florida, but not the one from travel brochures. Because Florida isn't just hurricanes, gators, and beach selfies. It's also raining iguanas, hens, ghosts, and blinking sky phantoms. Yeah, buckle in. When temperatures drop below 45 in South Florida, not only do Floridians panic like it's a Game of Thrones winter, but iguanas? They just fall. Cold-blooded and tree-hugging, they lose their grip, freeze up, and drop like scaly coconuts. Some are 5 feet long and weigh 20 pounds. Weather stations now issue unofficial falling iguana warnings. Let that sink in. Now from cold lizards to hot eggs. In 1936, one Floridian woman reached into the hen house after dark and felt something cold and soft. Nope, not an iguana this time. It was a giant soft-shelled egg with a normal egg nested inside. That's right, a Russian nesting egg. She sent the tale to the Orlando Morning Sentinel, and another reader chimed in. Her Rhode Island red hen laid 360 eggs in 1 year, demanded to be fed on top of a newspaper, and once laid 2 eggs in one sitting, one soft, one hard. Weird egg stories? Florida's got them. Next stop, Tampa, 1896. The Hotel DeSoto had a problem. Every night, the electric bell from room 7 would ring, startling guests and sending the staff into a panic. When checked, nothing. Just silence and chill. Turns out, room 7 was where Colonel Thomas, the hotel owner, died after ringing repeatedly for warm water. Now the bell rings on its own. Here's the kicker. The room was locked. Windows sealed. Only Mrs. Thomas had the key, and she'd already left town. So who was ringing for water? Fast forward to 1937. Meet Edward Saint, magician, skeptic, and self-proclaimed ghost exterminator. He didn't believe in ghosts, but made his living getting rid of them. He'd show up to haunted houses with a flashlight and a smug grin, blaming everything on faulty glass, cockroaches, or weird gutters. He once investigated a mansion where people were touched by a ghost and claimed he fixed the problem by moving a dead leaf. Saint never saw a ghost in Tampa, but wintered there to relax from ghosts. In more modern times, Florida still brings the haunted heat. Enter Melanie Davis, founder of the Big Bend Ghost Trackers. She leads ghost tours in Monticello, called the most haunted town in the South. And no surprise, Florida's most haunted B&B is called the Daffodil Estate. Orbs? Yep. Flying dishes? Also yes. Mirrors with faces in them? Come stay the night. Now, before we exit the highway, let's look up. Because Florida isn't just haunted below. Sometimes the sky itself gets weird.
The truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
It started over Tampa Bay, August 1919. Midnight, still, quiet. A group of people walking near the Fountain of Youth Pier stopped in their tracks. Over the water, something hung in the sky. A strange light, shimmering, pulsing, drifting like it was tethered to something invisible. One man described it as a bunch of tightly packed stars, glowing together. It bobbed up and down like a blimp caught in a storm, then suddenly surged forward and back, like it had a mind of its own. A newspaper reporter was sent to investigate. He stared up at the light for a long time, then gave up. He simply couldn't explain it. No one could, and no one ever did. Years later, 1934, aboard a commercial tanker off the Florida coast, Captain J.C. Floyd stood on the bridge at dusk when he saw a glowing light on the horizon. It wasn't blinking, it wasn't moving, just hovering. He checked his position. The only known source of light in that direction? 210 miles away. A revolving lighthouse nearly 40 miles out wouldn't appear steady, but this one did. That same night, several residents of Key West said they saw something else. A perfect outline of Havana shimmering on the water, as if the city had drifted into view like a ghost ship. Authorities chalked it up to a mirage, some rare weather event. Maybe, but Captain Floyd logged the incident, and he wasn't alone. Another ship, same location, same light, same night. Fast forward to 1977. Estatula, Florida. A woman named Dean Embry is driving alone along State Road 561. It's just past 9 p.m. Suddenly, the sky flashes. So bright, she said she could have read a newspaper. Then, her car radio dies. She veers off the road. Shaken, she tells a reporter, quote, "I thought I was going to die. If it wasn't a flying saucer, it was the God Almighty." She wasn't the only one. That same night, another woman, Frances Stinson, described blotchy yellow lights drifting across the sky. They weren't clouds, she said. Clouds don't glow like that. Neither woman knew what they saw, but both were certain they hadn't imagined it, and both said they would never forget. In 1981, near Pasco County, a woman named Glennis Travis saw a blue-green light hovering in the sky. Her grandmother had seen it too, for months. Sometimes it changed color, red, blue, green, and hovered above the trees for hours before vanishing. Astronomers said it was probably Venus. But then a security guard at a local resort, retired military, reported something different. A rocket-shaped object hovered just above his vehicle. Glowing blue fire pulsed from its base. Then it darted away. He filed a report. Deputies called him credible. Military background. Reliable witness. But no explanation was ever found. Maybe they were stars, maybe Venus. Maybe it was nothing at all. But then again, maybe it was something watching, drifting, waiting. Because in Florida, even the sky gets strange. Welcome to the Cosmic Folds Paranormal Highway.
Hey, I jumbled it up a bit tonight. How you doing? I don't hear you.
How about now? You hear me now?
Yes, like the voice of
Yeah.
God.
It helps to take the microphone off mute.
I tell you what,
Right.
this Florida thing,
I know.
surprisingly, there weren't tons and tons of things in the newspapers because I spent like the last 20 hours scouring newspapers for all those stories.
Uh-huh.
It seems to be more of a modern thing where people are talking about the ghosts out there. Maybe
Well,
people just took it for granted. I don't know, because it's a
think-
pretty old place.
I think maybe possibly that all these stories of strangeness and weirdness are
Uh-huh.
being overshadowed by Florida Man.
And it could very well be. He's in our cryptid section.
Could be.
I did. I put him there.
Hold my beer.
There you go. Well, you guys are familiar with that neck of the woods, so a lot of this is I've never been there. I have a sister that lives there, but
Fan.
I got the fan right here.
Oh, you got a different fan.
I got a different fan.
Because it's hot up
Yeah,
there.
I lived in Florida from 91
Good day.
Hi.
to when we moved, like 3 or 4 years maybe. But Dave was born and raised there, right down the street from the National Enquirer.
Oh, really?
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
I was born and raised in South Florida.
But you lived down the street from.
When I married you,
Yes, that's right.
I was there for 18 years before I met him.
And she was 19 when I married her.
Yeah, so I was one
All
of
right.
those natives.
Now she's 73.
She is not.
She's not. She's beautiful. Mwah.
That's your memory, baby. Shut up. Anyway. No,
Well-
I was there and I left on purpose, and there were many reasons. And it wasn't the paranormal.
Well, the
There you
capital.
go.
It was the reality of, oh my God.
I'm in Florida. I have an address here.
Florida man,
Yeah, we just talked.
they're terrifying. This is your dating pool.
I was telling your Al that Florida Man is in our critters and cryptids section tonight.
Huge.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
well,
That is
you can
funny.
probably correct us and give us insight. So here's our little history primer.
Oh, a Florida primer. The Cosmic Souls History Presentation.
I won't change anything. I will only comment on what I've experienced myself.
Uh, well, that sounds good to me. Change it if
Welcome,
it's wrong too.
welcome to wild, weird Florida, where the oranges have blackheads. Florida, the only state that borders both the Atlantic and the Gulf, known for its sunshine, swamps, and strange headlines. Expect gators, pirates, oranges, maybe a skunk ape or two. Skunk ape.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm. Swamps, origins, theme parks, Florida's main industries. Top industries: tourism, agriculture, and aerospace. Florida leads in orange production and hosts NASA and Disney World.
Do you guys know? I meant to look this up. How many feet above sea level it is? Like
Um,
5?
It wasn't
Negative.
much. I can tell you that. I lived in the land of the flat. Like
Uh huh.
two-story homes weren't in my area. So I was born in Boynton Beach, and Boynton Beach and Lantana kind of merged.
Uh huh.
They were two smaller towns that had to merge what they had to have a big enough voice to speak for themselves. Because we were just these little burbs. We weren't right on the ocean, $1 million property. We weren't on Intercoastal Way. We had inlets. They were not known for great things, although a lot of
You
fishermen.
there? Did I just freeze?
yes.
You did. Sorry.
Are you still there? Well, all right. How about a little fun fact?
Okay.
Florida's lowest elevation is 0.
Right.
Their highest elevation is
That's probably Okeechobee in the swamp.
Their highest elevation is only 345 feet. That's Britton Hill, which I'm not exactly sure where it is, but if I had to guess, it's in the northern part of the state. Maybe
It
the
has to be.
Panhandle.
Everything's flat
Yeah.
down in the.
The average elevation in Florida is 100 feet,
Yeah.
and it's only that high because of North Florida, the Panhandle.
So I was born and raised in South Florida. Like that's a thing. West Palm Beach County, Boynton, Lantana are halfway between West Palm Beach and Lauderdale on the East Coast.
Yeah. The average elevation in Florida is 10 feet. There are areas in Florida, like as is in Louisiana, that are below sea level. So,
Oh man.
Where they put alligator Alcatraz,
yeah,
right?
many coastal areas and parts
Oh,
of the
that's so
Everglades
sick.
are at or near sea level.
The Everglades are swamp. There's a reason you
Right.
don't have big built resorts. The place is a
Yeah.
swamp. It's always flooded. You're never going to contain Mother Nature. I don't care what you do. She owns the planet. She's going to own your buildings, your siding, your hoses, your electrical. That's the way this works. It's marsh and muck. Those, what do they call them? Airboat things?
Airboats, yeah.
That's how you get around in the Everglades.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine that was an airboat captain.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's very, and that's the thing, you know. So me and Al got together, obviously. He was a bit older and I was 19, and we met in Florida. And he's from New York. I'm from South Florida. Natives left early, or they did a homestead thing that brought in profits from everybody who would hang out there and not live there. It's a huge snowbird community, meaning when it's 110 degrees, which it is for like 6 months out of the year. This is not a light summer. This is hot.
Yeah.
Because I was so far down. I was an hour north of Miami on the East Coast. It's hot. So it's very tropical, humidity. We had these huge lightning, electrical thunderstorms that came down every day between 4 and 6, mostly between 4 and 5. And you literally, if you're a Floridian, you knew, pull over and wait. You can't see anything for about 15 minutes. And then once it's done, you have steam and fog, still challenging to look through, but you could drive again because you wouldn't hydroplane as much. Highway 9, so Florida doesn't have rounds. We have north and south and east and west. We're a grid state. So you don't have these round, like Atlanta, you got this round, North Carolina, you got this round. No, we're all north and south and east and west. And the western side does not look like the eastern side. The north has no idea what's going on down south.
Yeah, it's
They
very
still
different.
chilly up there. There's a lot of farms up there. There's like high priced land up there. Like I'll give an example. My aunt used to buy feed and specialty straw from the Burt Reynolds farm because he would bring in the best stuff for his. He had a dinner show. He had an entire boarding barn races set up down there. He was obsessed with horses. And Lonnie Anderson was down there too. And it was all like this big to-do. But my aunt, he had a farm in Jupiter too. And so my aunt, she raised barrel racers and saloon horses and rodeo horses. Like she had all the pageants on the wall. When the massive hurricanes and storms come through, and they do, I got some ringworm from hanging out and playing in that 4 feet of water as a kid.
Oh.
But you were from Florida, and everybody did, and you just cleared it right up. What are you going to not let your kids leave the house for 6 days? I had 8 brothers and sisters, man. They were like, we'll heal you. Just, God, go. Because they had no power. They had no normal clean water, and you were just camping on a river, basically. But
jeez,
when they had these high breed, high class, very expensive stallions, and she eventually bought one that was stud quality and just top of the line, you had to feed them special things because unfortunately Florida is tropical heat, swampy. And so like everything gets mold in it. The hay, the feed, the grass, and it'll kill your horses. So you don't want the local stuff unless it's in the 6 months where we sort of dry out. And even then, you're better off buying instead of dealing with what the mold, because that gave your horse colic and then it was going to die. She had a prize stallion that was winning awards, 16 and a half hands tall, just a gorgeous stallion. He got colic from mold in his hay seed, and he died. Cost her $25,000 for that horse.
Oh, geez.
And there's no insurance on that.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly.
It's all right.
Well, so now we know the.
Background.
No, that's. Yeah. I
Swamp
didn't think
culture.
about that. Yeah.
Swamp
No,
culture.
swamp culture. So you don't have things if you don't have a concrete floor. If you don't have something to control the humidity in your environment. Air conditioning is all. It rules all. Because you cannot operate in these environments with no air conditioning for humans or live populations. And when they're out in the fields, they still get psychotically hot. You have to prepare for this. And there's a lot of farming in Florida, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Top industries.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. 50 foot. Oh, wow.
I
No,
thought we did it.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
I
did.
thought
We did. I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No problem.
The great land boom and bust of the 1920s. The 1920s real estate frenzy brought investors in droves, only to crash due to bad deals, hurricanes, and overhype.
Yep.
See this little billboard here. It says 50-foot lots here, Altos Del Mar, top of the hill. $745 and up. Easy terms. Yeah, I like that. That's down in Miami.
Nobody wanted to offer flood insurance.
Yeah, they
You
still
just knew you were screwed.
Yeah. Florida's
Yeah.
road space race. Cape Canaveral launched America into space, from Apollo missions to modern SpaceX flights.
Now, those
You can-
basically have been crashing lately. So
Crashing and burning, or just burning. You know, it's why even bother lifting all this and blow it up on the ground. Creepy stuff. The great python problem. Burmese pythons have taken over the Everglades thanks to exotic pets gone wild. Florida even hosts python hunting contests. That's interesting. Yeah.
I have a lot to say about the population of citizens in Florida that think it's fine to bring over swamp tropical pets and think it's cool. However, none of them know how to care for these pets. So, like,
It's typical.
that first time after you gifted somebody something they don't want, don't need, but you thought was cool, they flush it down the toilet.
Or let it out back or drop it off on the side of the road.
Do you understand how many problems in the canals with exotics you have to go through when the visiting tourists buy 4 to 6 weeks little water turtles
Or alligators,
and
baby
alligators and snakes, and the mom flushes them down the damn toilet. But the drugs get flushed down the toilet too, because you got to remember it's a peninsula. Drugs come in on every side, and they're available.
So you have psychotic.
I'm just telling you, every sci-fi movie I've ever watched in Florida with some research place and all this crazy stuff and some chemical. Yeah, we saw weird stuff float in the canal all the time. You had to bring in your little dog between the hawk and the alligator. They weren't going to live. It was like, but everybody knew it. So in Florida, unless you're a tourist, you're not surprised.
Yeah.
This is normal.
You definitely don't want to give an alligator
If
meth.
you're a tourist, if you're uneducated, you didn't research, you're an idiot. And then you freak out because something came up on land that scared your child and your family.
Right?
You can't freak out. They were there first.
All right.
Not an area I'm real keen on going to be honest.
I'd say
all
avoid
right.
it.
Well, now to
The heat makes people crazy.
well, and plus it's a humid heat, not like here. There actually really is something to the statement about a dry heat. It is different.
Yeah.
Oh, no. This is, don't do your hair. You walk outside your door, you're out there 3 seconds. Your hair has sweated, and don't wear makeup. Like a lot of us Floridians don't wear heavy makeup. Why? It melts down your face.
Yeah.
You dress different. I didn't have long pants, long sleeves, sweaters, or jackets till I moved out of the state. They were not needed.
When you guys went to Panama, was it
Different.
I mean,
Tropical.
was it a
was
different
hot.
tropic?
Yeah, but we were in the mountains,
But
though.
see, it wasn't as
okay.
hot as South Florida where we were.
Yeah, we were in the mountains.
We were at a high elevation.
We were at like 12,000 feet above sea level.
Okay.
So-
So it wasn't
Yeah.
Florida hot. That's why I could walk
Yeah.
into town.
And you
every day.
sometimes got snow
Yeah.
or frost on the top of the mountains where
yeah.
we were. So
It was
yeah.
very cold.
It was
up there.
different climate. Anyway,
Wow.
moving on. It's okay.
Okay.
Ghosts, gators, and glitches. Wild ride through Florida's paranormal and ridiculous side. Aren't they all ridiculous sides? Robert the Doll. He looks sweet. Key West. An eerie spirit doll housed at Fort East Martello Museum once belonged to artist Robert Eugene Otto. Created in 1904, visitors reported giggles, moves on its own, changes expression, and legend says disrespecting it brings bad luck. We have a crazy video for you now via YouTube's Creative Commons. The speaker is Romanian. Check this out.
And this is highly stupid. So here we go. Whoop. Where is it? Where'd it go?
Mr. Robert the Doll. Each person must first ask for his permission. If you didn't, you can say sorry Robert in the comments down below. But if you don't do that, he will come after you. Robert the doll is an allegedly haunted doll, which is kind of like Chucky. Before taking a picture of Robert the doll, when he is on display, each person must first ask for his permission. If his head tilts, that means permission has not been granted. In the very beginning of this video, I just show you what happens if you don't ask for his permission. Those letters were sent to the museum by people who dared to tempt the curse of Robert the doll, who didn't ask for permission. They contain true testimonies of the bad luck and misfortune that followed. In those letters, they ask for forgiveness. According to legend, the doll has supernatural abilities that allow it to move, change its facial expressions, and make jiggling sounds. Other stories claim that the doll moved voodoo figurines around the room and was aware of what went on around him. Still other legends claim that the doll vanished after Otto's house changed ownership a number of times after his death, or that young Otto triggered the doll's supernatural powers by blaming his childhood mishaps on the doll. According to local folklore, the doll has caused car accidents, broken bones, job loss, divorce, and cornucopia of other misfortunes, and museum visitors supposedly experience post-visit misfortunes for failing to respect Robert. Okay, so it's been Face Daddy, and thank you so much for watching this video.
First, I'd like to say, Robert, I'm sorry for watching that video without your permission. Just trying to be safe here.
Well, and a lot of people really believe that. And then they send apology letters to him and
Yeah.
whatever. But it's some old raggedy doll that's probably one of Florida's biggest like paranormal legends, I would say.
Robert the doll. Robert did it. That's funny.
Whoops. What is going on with my thing here? Okay.
Ooh.
Let me try to get this back in.
All right. See what happens. Dun, dun, dun. Ah, wait a minute.
Well, we'll talk for a bit while I'm trying to get this slide back in. I'm not sure what happened here.
I don't know. What slide? Oh, hello.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a close-up.
I will say with
There it
Florida's
goes.
background, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Like I said, Peninsula, drugs on every side, a lot of hallucinogens. It's Florida. The tropical heat fries your brain.
Yeah.
Hallucinations were not uncommon things amongst my friends who enjoyed
Partaking.
magical endeavors. So I have to take everything with a grain of salt because some of y'all just spent too long out in the sun.
Yeah. St.
Well,
Augustine. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Isn't there very old culture there too? So you have that kind of mixed, and then the Cuban influence and things like that. Probably.
Okay, so that's the biggest thing that my takeaway is about Florida. You don't understand unless you live there. You don't understand everything unless you were raised there.
Yeah.
It's very different than the tourist, superficial tourist stuff we all know about Florida. I'm not talking Miami Nights. I'm not, I've never even been to the Keys, and I was raised in South Florida. But that was like this whole different raging island of different beliefs. You know what I'm saying? It's very culturally mixed, as in we were all transplants from somebody. I wasn't. I was born there.
Right.
But my entire street had people who had migrated, moved there, ended up there. Most of the people you meet in Florida now, they didn't start there. They landed there. Whether
Arizona
it was
is like that too.
Yeah, whether it was on purpose or you got abandoned and stuck there and you're trying to find your way out. All I'm saying is when we got married and I was 19, he was 29. We're much older now. Uh, this was Florida, and Florida near the coast. So if you lived inland, things were different. If you lived in the north, things were different. If you lived on the west coast, things were different by the Gulf. And if you lived on the east coast, that's where Miami, Lauderdale, and the biggest partying scene was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Daytona became so obnoxious they had to shut it down because of the property destruction.
Oh, geez.
No, it's not
yeah.
like now they hate Bite Week and they hate spring break because people come down there and they just tear
Destroy.
all your shit up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
If
Yeah.
your
Jeez.
insurance don't cover it, nobody else is going to help you. The state's not going to help you.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard place to live if you're not catering to the tourist industry, which my dad was a builder and a contractor who was year round.
Mm-hmm.
So he catered to snowbirds. He would make sure their houses were open when they would come down when it was snowing up north. He would make sure to take care of their homes. And I'm talking from a maintenance, you got a leak, you got a plumbing, you got a roof, rebuild a wall, termites came in, whatever it was. I'm sorry.
What? Are you okay? Where are you?
No, I'm
backed
fine.
up.
He told me go back to St. Augustine. Sorry.
Oh,
Well, that's okay. I know this time just flies really by quickly. And we're like halfway through the show already. So I just wanted to speed things up a little bit. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Anyway, yeah. St. Augustine's Lighthouse Ghost. This 1874 lighthouse is allegedly haunted by two children and a former keeper. Visitors report laughter, footsteps, and ghostly figures near the keeper's house.
I've seen pictures of the inside of that. It's got these incredible spiral
Yeah.
stairs that go through there. Looks
They
like a
do.
cool place, actually.
Lighthouses kind of creep me out. I don't know why, they just do. It's like, how clowns creep some people out?
Oh, I can't stand clowns.
I don't know, maybe just, it's not the actual lighthouse. It's when you go in the lighthouse and you look up,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just this big open, it's like being in the rotunda, in the Capitol, or anywhere really where it's this giant open space that's like 100 feet tall. You feel like, everything's going to collapse on you, so, well, according to the Pensacola News Journal, located aboard the Naval Air Station Pensacola, the Pensacola Lighthouse has been featured on numerous ghost and paranormal shows, ranging from Ghost Hunters to America's Most Haunted Lighthouses. I will not be investigating that. Legend says that the lighthouse, built in 1859, is home to up to 8 spirits, including a woman who died giving birth, runaway slaves, and a lighthouse keeper and 2 children who died of yellow fever in 1922. There are still reports of blood appearing in places. If you visit the lighthouse, maybe stop by nearby Fort Barrancas, I don't know what that is, where Confederate soldiers who died during the Civil War are said to linger in spirit.
Yeah, I've seen some documentaries on that one. It looks pretty creepy.
Yeah, it does. Villa Paula, Miami. Once the Cuban consulate, this 1920s mansion is said to be haunted by its late owner, Paula Mylord. Witnesses report hearing phantom coffee scents, and piano.
It should be smelling.
Okay, yeah. Because
My bad.
some of those drugs coming in from Florida will make you hear colors.
Yes.
And piano music, and seeing a one-legged woman, possibly Paula herself.
Sorry for that one. I threw myself there.
It's not a problem at all.
Though for a ghost, I wouldn't mind having coffee scents and piano music. That wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah. Spook Hill, Lake Wales, an optical gravity hill where cars seem to roll uphill, whether natural illusion or ghostly trickery. It's spooky fun. I've read some about this place and a couple of other similar type places where these optical illusions give you it looks like the road is going up. And when you put a ball down or put a car in neutral, it looks like it's rolling uphill. It's a very cool optical illusion. Yeah, that is very cool. Wakula volcano smoke column. Wow. Throughout the 1800s, ghostly lights and smoke appeared in Wakula swamps, possibly peat fires, but local folklore says otherwise.
Now, this idea came from Day.
Critters and cryptids. The mysterious Florida man appears in daily news searches. Some samples of Florida man's antics drawn from numerous sources. A couple of examples are Florida man stores honey mustard in whale carcass. One guy was arrested for stashing honey mustard inside a dead whale's rotting remains. Truly, condiment innovation gone wild. Throwing an alligator into a Wendy's. Florida man decided a drive-thru wasn't complete without an alligator fling into the restaurant window. No bite orders necessary. Florida man punches ATM for giving too much money. Yeah, that makes sense. Florida man hangs on a traffic light and poops on cars below. Startling, unsuspect. I could see that.
Yeah,
That is
totally see
hysterical,
that.
really.
I could totally see that.
that's a normal news.
Yeah. Naked Florida man. One strip-clad bandit was seen on a security camera breaking into a woman's home wearing nothing but his birthday suit. Fun fact, most of the state of Florida, it is legal to be outside of your house completely naked. Don't need a fence or anything, as long as you don't step off of your property.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So you read these stories about his whole neighborhood being traumatized by like this 60-year-old dude whose nuts are hanging down by his knees, out doing yard work, pruning trees, cutting his grass, completely naked, no fence, no nothing, and nobody can do anything about it. And the whole neighborhood is just like terrified, and they're, not terrified, they're horrified.
Oh, funny. Oh, my.
Florida man drives 115 miles an hour with the baby. I may or may not have done that. Live on Snapchat, he's captured recording himself racing, baby in the back seat, video captions, good vibes only. Yeah, my sister-in-law banned me from hanging around her kids for a while because I took them for a ride in a Nissan Altima. They were, how old were they?
They were young, but that wasn't in Florida.
It wasn't in Florida, but still. Took them over a railroad crossing, doing 110 miles an hour. All four wheels came off the ground. We were all going, yeah. Then they ratted me out. And
They're not supposed to do that.
No. When your uncle does something stupid, you just keep it to yourself. Florida man dressed as Ronald McDonald tackled for trespassing. Clown costume? Check. Trespassing? Also checked. He quipped, I'm a clown, stupid. Florida man steals entire gas station ice cream cooler. 4 a.m. Swiped a $2,500 cooler in one fell swoop from a sleeping attendant. That makes sense though, because ice cream is very good.
It is so hot there.
It is true,
You get desperate.
You do get desperate. Florida man is head-butted by a shark mid-surf and compared it to being hit by a car. He then went out surfing the next day.
That's what you do.
In Florida.
I have another Florida question for you guys. And my question is this. Are there, whoops. Boy, I am just really batting 1,000 here tonight.
Yeah,
Here we are. How big are the mosquitoes there? Are there like tons of mosquitoes?
Legendary.
They have last names.
I wish they were employed.
Yeah, I guess maybe about an inch and a half, about an
They're
inch
a good
maybe.
2 inches, their legs across.
Yeah, they're big.
Oh my God.
Not as big as the flying cockroaches.
So
Oh,
those though, okay, they're not hang out long, guys. They're hit it and quit it, hit it and quit it, hit it and quit it. They have these really long legs. They have a very sensitive touch. So they hit it and quit it because by the time you figure out something just did that,
They're
they
gone.
gone.
Gone. Bye.
The little ones are easier to smack and kill. Also, all those typical remedies in the South that work for bugs in Florida, they don't work. They don't care about your citronella, your coffee, all of the spray and DEET our bodies can handle. Also, a lot of they might be better now. My parents didn't sunblock much. Got older, had a child down there, learned, ooh, she fair-skinned and Irish, and she just burns up crispy 15 minutes. And I learned, like, what real sunblock is like. So
Axle grease. You just cover your body in axle grease.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's a very roughneck place, but a lot of people have a lot of money, and if you need to live off a tip party atmosphere, you can do so very well. I left Florida on purpose because my daughter was a child and I was educated there, and I understood the dropout rate. I understood the drug rate. I understood so many of my friends had already died, and I became a mother right after I turned 17 down there. So I knew the single mother's plight, and I knew that half the state were landscapers and construction, and it got sporty out there. My dad had heat stroke and heat exhaustion. I suffered heat exhaustion repeatedly. And so what I'm saying is, unless you have a lot of money, Florida is not for you. If you have a lot of money, you can do anything you want in Florida. Nobody will bat an eye, question you, call in authorities, because our best weed came from the cows. Just say it. That was the Florida I knew, and I'm 54. I left that
She's
Florida
just a baby.
when I was 21.
It just doesn't appeal to me, sorry to the Florida folks, but there's no appeal of it to me.
You have to understand, so the education ratings there, education is not their highlight. So, like, I brought my daughter to North Carolina, high education rating, when she was a child. And so I didn't want her to be raised in Florida schools. And so we did that there. And that was very different than what she would have seen where I was, where your daycare has somebody dealing drugs and somebody working part-time in every position, because that's all they could hire. Education was not a big thing for them. I went back in North Carolina and made sure I got my GED. And at 37, I actually went to college because it had mattered to me. But in Florida, no. You need to be a landscaper, a construction worker, a developer, somebody who caters to the wealthy in some way. Because otherwise you were just surviving the party world that was Florida, which is why I didn't want to raise kids there and why we left.
Yeah, I don't think I'd. Well, here we go again. We've got another Bigfoot type thing.
Skunk ape.
Wait, so the skunk in Florida is the amount of stink bugs that are everywhere. The second you step on one, cherry that invades your brain, your sinuses, your whole body, to where you're like, bleh, bleh, bleh.
That sounds like hell to me. It sounds like hell. No wonder they're so awful there. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
God, it's disgusting.
I think the only place on the planet that has more things that are trying to kill you is Australia.
Well, but like the cockroaches fly and they're 2 inches long.
They are. They call them palmetto bugs. I didn't know.
They They call them a lot of
Yeah,
things.
someone
They're
said,
flying cockroaches.
watch out for the palmetto bugs. I'm like, okay, what do they look like? They look like flying. No, they don't look like flying cockroaches. They're flying cockroaches, and they're
Perhaps
2 inches long, and they got 3-inch wingspan, and they dive bomb you.
They were down in the Phoenix area, and I was so freaked out by that. It just they're
no,
not up
they have-
here.
they have an attack formation.
They
I
do.
swear to God, they're organized.
Oh my God, it's
And
horrible.
they can take down the strongest of us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have nightmares tonight about
It's horrible.
You're not in Florida. You're okay.
You're good. You're good. There's a swamp-dwelling Bigfoot, of course, with a foul stench, seen throughout the Everglades.
Stink bugs.
Stink bugs. Notable sightings: 2,000 Mayaka photographs. An anonymous woman sent 2 blurry images of which she claimed was a skunk ape in her backyard in Sarasota County. These became one of the most well-known proofs. How come anyone can't capture a Bigfoot with a decent freaking camera?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the security videos. You know, here we have a video of the guy who committed 4 murders, and he's like blurry. Meanwhile,
Exactly.
the 11-year-old up the street's got a webcam hanging out his window because he sees 6 miles, perfect clarity. Anyway, David Shealy's footage from 2000, Florida self-proclaimed skunk ape expert, captured video of a fast-moving upright figure in the swamp. The skunk ape is part of Florida's folklore and tourism, complete with dedicated research headquarters, roadside attractions, and skunk ape festivals. Some locals consider it a cultural mascot of the Everglades. Yeah, something giant that
Because
stinks.
It stinks. You don't know what to say about it. It's very swampy and gross. So yeah, that's what you're gonna say if you go there.
Yeah.
Well, everybody needs a Bigfoot, you know.
Everyone needs a Bigfoot. Ooh, Two-Toe Tom. Reminds me, we lived in North Carolina. No, it was here in Georgia. Peachtree City. Peachtree City had a river going through it called Floyd Creek, and there was an alligator, a pretty big one, that lived there. I don't recall, out of all the years of ever reading about Flat Creek Floyd attacking anyone.
No.
He just hung around,
He was
and you know.
docile when he died.
But he got hit by a car a couple weeks ago, and that did him in. But he'd been around.
Oh, really?
He'd been around there for decades.
Right.
Decades.
He was like, I'm retired.
Now that's a
man.
mascot.
He was
you know.
just retired.
I ain't gonna bite anybody. I'm just gonna stick my head up out of the creek here. And,
How
look
long?
at people.
How long do these live? These alligators?
Oh, 100 years.
A long time. So that's
Yeah.
another big thing in Florida. You live like in places like Stewart and Jupiter and up along the East Coast. You don't want to live on the ocean side. Like we lived 10 miles from the ocean front growing up, but I moved closer to that as the years went on. And there were so many issues on the ocean, along with high price and crime and all this insanity. So the things that happened with the gators and all that, they went into the canals. And here's what I learned in Panama, but actually it applies to Florida. So the gators that live in the canals get parasites on their back. So they cross over and they get in the ocean to that salt water.
Oh, to get them off.
Parasites.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it
okay.
cleans them so they're not itching and irritated. And then they go back over, and they only do this during seasonal migration. So they do it like twice a year. And then they go back over and get in their canals.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people have homes on these canals. And you always have some great fishing, but you have to remember, if you have a small dog or a child, that these alligators crawl up whatever wall you put there, and they hang out in your backyard right on the canals. And so if people want to go and build places and do things that nature hasn't totally let go of, there's a price to pay. And it's not just dollars.
Yeah.
I would be in
I'm
so
like,
much freak out there. I would just
well, no,
everything.
so I have we best friend, sister, whatever. She grew up down the street. We took her on all vacations. She was another sister. Anyway, she lives on a canal in Stuart, Florida. She's on her third dog.
Oh
She
God.
has sent us pictures.
Yes.
Look, it's alligator in our driveway.
And now she has like one granddaughter. And I'm like,
Better keep an eye on that.
you better be on patrol all the time.
Yeah.
Between
Oh.
the snakes, you know, the cottonmouths and the swamp snakes and the canal snakes and the gators, to live near a water in Florida, whether it's swamp, intercoastal, the
Canals.
beach, any of it, it just means things come in you didn't plan on. And if you don't research them and know how to deal, like in Panama, they were all like, the scorpions were everywhere. So you knew how to protect your home.
And your pets.
In Florida, you have to know how to protect your home or you're just another snack.
Right. For
Oh,
two-toed
God.
Tom.
Yes, let's hear about two-toed Tom.
Well, one of the earliest, by the way, alligators, American alligators live in the wild 30 to 50 years, up to 80 to maybe 100 in captivity.
Wow.
So not as long as the turtles, you know, but that's still a long time.
Yeah.
One of the earliest written accounts of two-toed Tom can be traced to the 1934 book Stars Fell on Alabama by Carl Carmer. In the book, the story of two-toed Tom, often referred to simply as two-toe or red-eye, refers to a red-eyed 14-foot alligator who would regularly eat farmers' livestock as well as men and women. The story continues to tell of multiple failed attempts to kill the alligator, including an ex-military sharpshooter who spent over a week in a hunting blind waiting for the creature, and another incident where the alligator was chased into a pond by farmer Pap Haynes. Pap Haynes, one of these related to Hub McCann, into which 15 syrup buckets of dynamite were lit and thrown into. It was an unsuccessful attempt to kill two-toe. The story ends with it being mentioned the gator was said to have made his way down to Florida, although the narrator, an old man named Gilmore, believed he'd be back to Alabama eventually.
Can you imagine using all that dynamite to blow it up? It's like,
And it still gets away.
yeah.
God, man. Another chupacabra. Florida's chupacabra, this blood-sucking creature supposedly seen near Miami, is blamed for livestock deaths, though experts say mange-ridden coyotes are more likely. I don't know which is more frightening, a mange-ridden coyote or a chupacabra.
Exactly.
The Wampus cat. Oh, that's just too funny. According to PantherNow.com, the Wampus cat is a panther-like creature with 6 legs and is possibly bipedal. Okay. The yellow eyes and skunk smell are what distinguish it from a creature of known
It's like
harm.
everything is stinky over there. It's like
Well, it
they'll
is.
have a
It's
stinky
Florida.
smell.
It's a swamp.
It's a swamp.
Everybody's sweating.
Yeah. The average, like I said, the average sea level is 10 feet.
Deodorant won't help.
No. Deodorant will laugh at it.
Jeez.
The mythos of the Wampus cat is varied, but most common origin story is one of a beautiful woman who was turned into the creature during a ritual. There have been sightings of the cryptid in the Everglades, and its possible location also spans through the Appalachians across 25 or so states.
So it might go up your way.
It might come up my way. I don't know. We've heard some weird stuff driving through Appalachia. Booger. The Barden booger, a green-furred, pig-snouted, and again, foul-smelling, Bigfoot-like creature. That's Putnam County's answer to the skunk ape.
Stank in Florida.
There is some stank.
okay?
There is some stank.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
It looks like a big, like somebody's pig got out and it just ate all kinds of
Yeah.
little snacks
If I
out
had to
there and
guess-
just
And the face
Huh?
resembles Hugh Grant.
If I had to guess, a boar was going nuts and somebody was drunk or high, and that's how that started.
And maybe it was a
Could-
mange-ridden boar.
Because in the swamp,
Yes.
everything smells like that.
Yeah, and it looks like that. Anyway.
Canal, swamp, they're
Yeah.
not freshwater people.
Mall walking Martians at Bayside.
Remember this story?
No, we haven't followed seriously anything but Florida Man since, for a while. This is only a year or so ago.
This was all over the news. It was
All right.
hysterical.
This is new.
In early 2024, Miami's Bayside Mall saw a teen brawl erupt into a viral alien panic. People swore 10-foot shadow beings were stalking the plaza. I do not remember this.
Okay, go to
No.
CBS News and look it up. It's hysterical. And so all these people like freaking out that there was
Oh, man.
all
But
it does is look like a shadow, but
It's
it turned into this big
teens.
thing.
Everybody's tripping on something, or they were outside too long at the water park and didn't hydrate.
But well,
My
there were
parents-
adults too. A lot of people. Just I'm serious. You got to watch this on CBS News. They all
I'll
thought
go
there was
look
an
for it.
And
I'll
I'm
go
alien.
look for it.
serious. My parents never told us to drink water and hydrate.
Oh God.
That's what I'm saying.
Heat stroke.
I was
Hallucinations.
raised around a lot of people that didn't realize you needed to hydrate to not hallucinate and die. They weren't
Oh,
educated
God.
enough to know the science and the health. But my parents had me drinking soda and sweet tea.
Oh,
We did not
geez.
have real or clean water.
Sweet tea.
Well,
Right.
this is definitely worth looking
Yeah, I'm going to look into it.
because there's like all these
I'm-
different people are trying to figure it out. And it was on the news in Arizona. It was like a big thing.
Wow. Huh. Number 2 in UFO UAP sightings. Now, I'm not surprised at that. According to Enigma Labs.io, that's a really, really good source, isn't it?
Yep. Thanks to you. You've
No
turned me on
problem.
to that.
Someone turned me on to it. Anyway, it started receiving public sighting submissions via the web late in 2022 and launched in 2023. Florida, you got to split. She got to split.
I got to respond to this.
She's got to
All right.
respond to.
Oh,
Ooh, maybe it was a job. Florida ranks number 2 in the U.S. for sightings. Enigma has the largest standardized, queryable historical sightings database with over 270,000 plus reports from other global sources. Yeah, if
you
you're
see
really
that
into this-
spike there?
yeah,
What's
if you're really
I mean
into
the
this
thing is
UFO stuff, though, you need to download this.
exactly, but it's got that same spike from when everybody was looking at the drones, and then it just drops
Yeah.
way down again.
Yeah, well, that's because people stopped looking up.
Yep.
They were looking up because of the drones. That doesn't mean that's the only thing they saw up there were drones, right?
Yeah.
Just like more people are looking up, you get to see more stuff. in the
Oh,
sky.
did I lose my internet again?
Stay weird, Florida. Hey, thanks for surviving this tour of the Sunshine State's weirdest residents and former residents. May your roads be gator-free and your dolls unpossessed. And again, Robert, I'm very sorry. Very, very sorry about that. So get that out there, man.
So, I think I keep freezing up here.
It's a couple times, but it was nothing. It was all right. It was all right. It was all
You know,
right.
I have really good service until the show starts, and then all of a sudden, it's like
yeah.
drops.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I learned how to do my own repairs on my vehicles is because every time I heard a weird noise and I drove it to the mechanic and I said, "Hey, I got this weird noise," it wouldn't make the damn noise. Just wouldn't do it. So I decided, you know what? If I hear a noise, I'm just going to crack it down and fix it myself. Anyway, it was a great show tonight. Day had to leave. Deb is frozen, but I'm sure she'll be back. I see her fan moving.
Yeah, I'm back.
She's back, but yeah,
I'm
we
back.
had that was a very, very interesting Florida show. You know what's next, don't you?
Yes. Who is after Georgia? It's your state.
My state, baby. That's right.
All right. Well, I
So
look
you know
forward
what I'm
to
going to be
that.
doing
And
this week? I'm going to be driving around. I'm going to be talking to some people even older than me about, hey, what was it like 70, 80 years ago? Did you hear the story about the barn creature? I'm going to look for cryptids and whatever I can find. And a lot of the creepy, weird, strange stuff you would think would be in the rural areas. Well, I'll have you know that the entire city of Atlanta was built on top of the old city of Atlanta. And the Atlanta Underground has got some stories. Very interesting.
you know, oh, we had a visitor there.
Oh, we
Well,
did?
Teresa, thanks for joining us.
Oh,
I'm sorry about
yeah.
my internet. I didn't expect anyone really to be here on a holiday weekend, so we appreciate that. We tend
Yeah,
to get our
really.
viewers later, like during the day on Sunday. So thank you, Teresa.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa, very much. So, yeah. I feel like I put my glasses on so I could see.
Oh, Wednesday we're going to be talking about. I think I'm frozen again, and
You're good
then
now.
next Saturday
You're good
we're
now.
going to Georgia. So, El, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
We're going to have some fun.
And so, yes, so we'll see you next week. Tell Day thank you for her
will.
insight on Florida.
I will.
It always helps to people who've actually been there, done it. It gives you some good perspective. So
Well, fortunately, we've moved 40 something times in 35 years. So we've got some stories about various states that we've both lived in. So
excellent. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Probably talk with you before then.
yeah,
And
sure.
you take care and enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend.
Hasta la
Right.
vista.
Hasta.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.